For those of you who are unfamiliar, this is Eric Trump giving us his most prize-winningest grin of all time. And this is Clay Clark on the bottom. And they both went on, Eric Trump and Clay Clark, they went on the Elijah List Facebook page, okay? And this is Steve Schultz in the top left corner. He runs the Elijah List Facebook page, Rumble, so on and so forth. It's basically a Facebook page that gets on all kinds of nutty right-wing, like far-right Trump pastors. And Eric Trump is like one of their biggest gets ever. They have like 400-something thousand subbies on there. This is actually part 2. If you haven't seen the previous part, you don't have to understand what's happening in this. Not a big deal, but you can go back and watch it if you want, now or later. I'll provide context if any context is missing to this. But anyway, in the previous part, Eric Trump was talking about how he lives the cleanest life. Donald Trump lives the cleanest life. They're the most moral people ever. His brother, his sister, his family, they're all just the cleanest, most moralist people alive. So, yeah, obviously he's completely full of it. They are among the most immoral people alive. But it gets absolutely nutty listening to some of the things he has to say. So why don't we continue on, listen to this, see what else he has to say for himself. And we're going to play Mario 3 while we do it. They're also talking about, like, the Mar-a-Lago search and how offended he is that the government tried to retrieve documents that Donald Trump stole from them. Talk about snowflakes, right?
450, 470 subpoenas that we've received every single day. But the guy who has laptops with illicit drugs,
Talking about Hunter Biden? No. Hunter Biden's laptop is completely irrelevant. Nobody has actually seen the laptop in the first place or anything on it, honestly. There's no evidence that the things that the right has released actually came from Hunter Biden's laptop. And he's not a government official, so I really don't care what's on his laptop. It makes no difference. You know who was involved in the government? Eric Trump. He's fair game here. It's fair to criticize this guy because he was heavily involved in government for a while there. And is still trying to influence politics heavily. So,
prostitution, illegal deals, got into business when his father became vice president. You know, all of that gets ignored. I mean, they're not raiding Hunter Biden's house, you know, despite the fact that he's got emails, which is, you know, why don't you give 15% or 10% to the quote unquote big guy? I mean, I wonder who.
Dude, what is he even talking about? Like, is he just making things up right now? Look. Hunter Biden was and is not involved in politics, and thus I really do not care. None of my business what he's got going on.
Now, Eric, one thing I will say this. When I saw that there was a warrant that allowed the FBI to raid your father's home, I thought, I'm going to just look up who the judge is that signed off on this thing. And I had just...
Oh, here we go. There are a bunch of conspiracy theories about the judge that signed off on the search warrant. They claim that he was, like, you know, involved in Jeffrey Epstein's stuff. As far as I know, there's no actual evidence of that. But Fox News did actually, famously now, post a fake photoshopped image of the judge on Jeffrey Epstein's plane. They photoshopped the judge's face over top of Jeffrey Epstein's body and claimed that it was the judge all along and the judge was getting with Ghislaine Maxwell or whatever other thing they claimed. It was insane. So, yeah, I'm sorry, man. I just don't believe a single word out of these people's mouths.
Just a little 30-second clip. But I immediately, and I'm saying this, I'm trying to wake up many of the wonderful listeners you have because we need to wake up other people, okay? And so right away, as soon as the raid begins, I saw people that I thought were on our team all going, well, where there's smoke, there's fire. Well, I'm going, I don't think that you can use that logic system, but I just want to play this whole audio clip here. Let me cue this up real quick.
Today, we're also finding out that the judge that signed the warrant for this unprecedented, very dangerous, politically partisan raid was also the lawyer for Jeffrey Epstein and his associates.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, I have no idea what they're talking about. I deeply doubt basically anything that they say. I need independent sources on that. Aside from that, they are doing absolutely anything they can to demonize this judge when the harsh reality of it is Donald Trump was actually associated with Jeffrey Epstein, took pictures with the guy, wished Ghislaine Maxwell well when she went to jail, okay? she's an awful person, a terrible person, and has been sentenced, I think, to 30 years or something like that in jail, right? Or is it 20 recently? I don't remember. Why is Trump wishing her well? They're talking about this judge being involved in Epstein stuff or whatever. Haven't seen the evidence for it, but the hypocrisy of saying such a thing is absolutely insane to me. Insane.
Very dangerous politically partisan raid was also the lawyer for Jeffrey Epstein and his
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, they just spread, this is called fire hose of falsehoods. They come up with as many lies and misinformation and misconceptions and propagandistic framings as possible, and they disseminate them through every source they possibly can. Fox News, ElijahList.com, like everything. Spread it through everything. And people will pick and choose whichever propagandistic framing or, you know, lies or whatever that they like the best. Whichever resonates the most with them. And if they encounter family members who debunk that propagandistic framing or those lies, then they just throw out the next one in line. You know, Trump did this exact thing with the FBI search. He said, I declassified those documents already. If that's not good enough, the FBI could have asked for them back any time, and they didn't. If that's not enough, Obama did the exact same thing, took 33 million documents or whatever with him. If that's not enough, actually they just planted evidence. You know, he just keeps throwing out lie after lie after lie so that people can pick and choose whichever one they like the best. That's how this works. And this is just one more lie about the Mar-a-Lago search. One more lie. Dude is telling them that the judge that signed off on it hates Trump because Trump is trying to take out all of the evil people in the government, and he's one of those evil people. So he's just trying to get back at him and put him in jail and all this stuff. It's insane, dude. This is pure, unadulterated QAnon nonsense. Does not get crazier than this kind of thing right here.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, think about it. There he is again, Jeffrey Epstein, Judge Bruce Reinhart. If you remember, President Trump had an interview he did years ago where he's doing the interview and the reporter keeps asking him about, you know, do you have a problem with these pedophiles?
God, I wish they weren't saying this stuff on air, but okay.
And President Trump did a great job. He's like, hey, I'm summarizing, I'm not putting words in his mouth, but he said something to the effect of, yes, we need to make sure we, you know, expose this corruption and deal with this situation. And the mainstream media.
Who wouldn't say something like that? Seriously, like, what kind of a person would not say that that stuff is evil? Everybody would. Even if you're engaging in it and you're on the news, you would say something like that. It's like the most hated crime in human history at this point, right? Of course Trump's going to say that. Anybody would say that. Even people who were closely associated with Jeffrey Epstein, like, for example, just tossing a name out there, Donald Trump.
It just could not handle the idea that he was calling out this issue. And again, here we are. Jeffrey Epstein's attorney is the judge, Judge Bruce Reinhart, that signed off on the warrant to.
See, just one more propagandistic framing method. Just one more. It's all about propagandizing to people. It's all about spreading as many lies as possible so you can take your pick of which lies you like the best. That's how these people operate, and it's absolutely disgusting. All right, let's keep listening.
Raid the home of a former president. I mean, come on now.
How do you even handle that, Eric? How do you handle that when it's so obvious? I mean, do you get angry? What goes on?
You know what, honestly, I think we're, you know, not trying to plagiarize Pink Floyd right now, but I think sometimes, you know, we've been through so many battles, we're kind of comfortably numb. I was one that got the call from.
Oh, come on, dude. Is he a Pink Floyd fan? That makes me sad. I love Pink Floyd. Pink Floyd's the best. And Comfortably Numb is a good song, too.
Our team. And I, you know, saying, hey, the FBI is at the front door. I go, the FBI? What's the FBI doing at the front door? We've always had a great relationship with these guys. And by the way, the rank and file guys are 100% pro-Trump.
Yeah.
And those guys, I can't tell you how many friends I have that are in the FBI that are the actual gun carriers. Trust me, they're not into this stuff. It's the bureaucrats at the top of the FBI.
Wow, that's really interesting. He's kind of rehabilitating the FBI's image right now, right? Seems to me.
A very, very different story.
Because the Trump people most definitely came out against the FBI. They cannot stand the FBI at this point. They do not like them whatsoever. And there have even been attacks against the FBI recently because they searched Trump's house for the documents. Absolutely nuts, man.
But I got a call from my team, and so I called up my father, and I said, the FBI is for what? We've had like the greatest relationship with these guys. I was just with them, at the time. He goes, I was just with them 3-4 weeks ago. I literally went down and guys, anything you guys need is, you kind of go through, records and things like that. Absolutely. You let me know. I mean, the interesting thing is that the GSA actually packed all the boxes when they left, the White House. What happens is one president effectively moves out and another one moves in, all during like a 4-hour period of time, 4 to 6 hour period of time that's known as inauguration. So it's not like, all the president's stuff is being packed up and all the other person's stuff is kind of being put in. But anyway, great relationship. Guys, they are trying to find anything. They are trying to do anything that they can to dismantle Donald Trump. They're petrified of him. Their candidate right now has done a terrible job. So oftentimes they use something like this as just, an opportunity to go in and look around and see what they can find in any way, shape, or form under.
Great. If that's the case, then no, actually, search warrants are limited to very specific things. Even if they did find something that was like questionable or that they shouldn't have had or whatever else, it doesn't matter. They can't take it. They can't use it or whatever else because the search warrant is limited in scope to, what they have or whatever. Aside from that, you have to have proof for a lot of these claims. You can't just come out here and say this all willy-nilly with absolutely no evidence. Well, you can, and sadly people buy it, but it shouldn't work that way at the very least.
Some other guys under some other, and then they leak things. They leaked out to the Washington Post. The very same reporters, by the way, that were all part of the Russia hoax, every single one of them.
Okay, the Russia hoax was not a hoax. People got indicted for what happened in the Russia probe, like 34 indictments or something. The Russia probe was real, very real. And the fact that Mueller, the guy running it, only did not recommend that Donald Trump be charged only because he thought that sitting presidents should be impeached, not indicted. That is the only reason Trump got out of it. It was not a hoax at all.
The exact same reporters were the ones that they went to. So, you line up the FBI raid and the people who are leaking, and you line up the Russia collusion.
Who leaked? Who leaked what? What was leaked? Are you just making this stuff up just because you like to? Of course, it's Eric Trump. There's a documentarian, a filmmaker who followed this family around in the final weeks of the 2020 campaign. Alex Holder, I think is his name. And he did an AMA on Reddit recently, and somebody said, what are the little things about this family that you discovered that you didn't know or you found surprising? And he said, Eric Trump is deeply afraid of his bigger brother, of Donald Trump Jr. Isn't that fascinating? This guy, Eric Trump, what we're looking at here, deeply afraid of his brother. That's sad. Why? Why is he so afraid of him? Absolutely nuts, man.
Nonsense. It's the exact same reporters that did Russia collusion and got all the leaks from the FBI and the DOJ that happened to do the FBI raid. But then, they leaked to them, well, it's about nuclear codes. Well, it's really interesting that's about nuclear codes because on Friday, they got the search.
Okay, I don't believe anybody said that the search was about nuclear codes specifically. They said there was nuclear information in the stuff that they received, like the stuff that the FBI took from his house or whatever. Or they said that it's documents that are on the same level of sensitivity as nuclear documents would be. So, yeah, no one said it's the nuclear codes. They change the nuclear codes, like, every day, basically. Nobody thought it was the nuclear codes, I don't think. Just for good measure, let me step back and listen again.
And got all the leaks from the FBI and the DOJ that happened to do the FBI raid. But then, they leaked to them, well, it's about nuclear codes. Well, it's really interesting that's about nuclear codes because on Friday, they got the search warrant. They didn't exercise that search warrant until midday Monday. So you mean to tell me the FBI has such an important barbecue schedule on the weekend that if nuclear codes were compromised, that they wouldn't have got in immediately after getting the search warrant. Of course not, guys. This is all a sham.
Okay, no, it isn't a sham. It's actually very, very legitimate to a scary degree, first of all. And second, nobody said it was the nuclear codes. That wasn't leaked. Wait, is he admitting that it was the nuclear codes? Is this him admitting it? It seems like, holy shit, dude. It was not leaked that it was the nuclear codes. I think Eric Trump just admitted to what was in the documents. That was not public information until Eric just said it. Oh my God, dude. Was that leaked or no? Does anybody know? Can someone tell me in the chat? Did the Washington Post, I think he said the Washington Post leaked that it was nuclear codes, right? That's not true, is it? They didn't leak that it was nuclear codes. Is that correct? Oh my God, dude. I think he just admitted to a bunch of stuff. Just nuclear documents? Nuclear codes get changed all the time. You're right. They do. Doubt it was that. Yeah, they get changed every day. The nuclear codes do. And yeah, it's a big complicated process. But is that what was in those documents? Because, people were saying that it was definitively documents that were as sensitive as the nuclear documents, but nobody actually verified that it was nuclear documents, I don't believe. Oh, man. I'm going to have to clip this out. And, oh, this is crazy, dude. Okay, let's keep listening.
Yeah.
America doesn't believe it. There's only so many times you can cry wolf. They spent 3 years saying that Donald Trump was in collusion with Vladimir Putin.
Yep.
Now,
He was. That was proven without a shadow of a doubt in the Mueller probe. He most definitely was in collusion with Russia. He was. What's his name? Bill Barr covered that stuff up for him by taking the Mueller probe and claiming that it exonerated him when it absolutely did not exonerate him at all. Back when the Mueller probe happened. And then we got access to some of it. It was like partially redacted. The Mueller probe did not exonerate Trump in any way. Thanks, Bill Barr. I wonder if he regrets his actions now, lying about the Mueller probe exonerating Trump, now that he absolutely can't stand Trump and sees how evil he is. Yeah, Bill Barr is absolutely awful. Don't let him fool you.
who didn't have a single, it all came out. They prosecuted so many of these people for fraud and many other things, right? And, the whole narrative fell apart. But how many times can you cry wolf? Again, the reason they're doing this is because they're petrified of a guy like Donald Trump. They wouldn't be petrified of Liz Cheney because guess what? She's a rhino and she's part of that, that political class.
Yep.
Here's a guy who's never apologized.
Yeah, absolutely insane, dude. Liz Cheney is not a rhino by any stretch of the imagination. She's actually really far right-wing, like crazy far right. Liz Cheney is.
Politician who can't be bought, who can't be sold, who stood up for this country, who was not bribable like the rest of these people. Were not.
Dude, are you kidding me? This guy is actually trying to tell us that Donald Trump was not bribable? You cannot be serious with this.
Subject to special interest, did not play by the rules of Washington, D.C.
Right.
Dynasty after dynasty, starting with, the Clintons and the Bushes, and as of 2 nights ago, the Cheneys. Right? He upended their little power fiefdom. Hillary Clinton was supposed to get the mantle, and she failed miserably, despite the fact that she raised 5 times the amount of money.
Actually, Hillary Clinton got more votes than Donald Trump by far, like dramatically more. But we don't go by how many votes somebody gets. We go by the Electoral College. So the number of votes honestly do not matter. Now, almost not at all. The popular vote does not matter to who becomes the president of the U.S. next. And that is why Hillary Clinton lost, unfortunately. I think we can all agree now that Hillary Clinton winning the 2016 election would have been far better for democracy.
Handle it. So guess what? They weaponize the justice system. They weaponize the FBI. They weaponize the DOJ. They weaponize the media. The media becomes a lobbying arm of the Democratic Party. And they go after an incredible man, a guy who went in there and ran the best country. We had the greatest success, didn't start.
Oh, God, give me a break.
Any wars, brought prosperity back to this country, brought manufacturing back to this country, rebuilt our military, rebuilt our economy, took care of our vets, did right to try, knocked the hell out of the terrorists all over the Middle East. Literally,
yeah.
Yeah, he's trying to give us all these reasons to like Donald Trump. To be perfectly honest, the guy was absolutely awful in pretty much every single way. And all of this is propagandistic framing. It's a lot of it is just fabricated. It's all made up and just a method to try to get you to think that Trump was better than anybody else. It's insane.
Al-Qaeda, they were gone. I mean, look what he did in the Golan Heights. Look what he did in Jerusalem. Look what he did with religious liberty and freedom. People were saying Merry Christmas to one another, which wasn't happening at the end of Obama because you'd be considered a big.
Dude, what? People weren't saying Merry Christmas from 2008 to 2015? You got to be kidding me with this. The bizarre thing is that people actually believe what he's saying right now.
If you said Merry Christmas to the wrong person in this country.
Yeah.
He did all these great things, and they can't stand that he won. He built the border wall. He stopped the illegal immigration.
He did not build a border wall. He did not stop, quote-unquote, illegal immigration. This is all fabrication.
He stopped drugs flowing into this country. Drugs became the most expensive. Illegal drugs became the most expensive that they ever were. He was solving these structural problems that we have in society. And they can't take the fact that a guy like Biden had been in power for 50 years. He's been in government 15 years longer than I've been alive, Steve.
Jeez.
He's done nothing. He's accomplished absolutely nothing other than.
Oh, that's not strictly true. Biden has actually accomplished a lot since he took office. Like, a lot. Matter of fact, why don't we just take a quick gander at a list here? Okay, let's see. Major accomplishments of Joe Biden. Signed the CHIPS and Science Act. Improved health care for veterans. Did address gun violence. Not as much as I would like, but a little bit. Hello, Kitty. All right, I guess I'll sit. I guess I'll let you sit with me for now, Kitty, because you got an insulin shot, and I want you to feel better. Restored American leadership on the world stage. Absolutely true. Ended America's longest war, the Afghanistan War. 100% agreed on that one. Took action to address gender-based violence. I don't know about that. Maybe. I just haven't looked into that. Passed the American Rescue Plan. Helped get over 500 million shots in arms. Delivered needed relief to families by sending 160 million checks to Americans. Yeah, he did a stimulus package. That's true. Safely reopened America's schools. That's true, too. I mean, he's done a lot. Biden has. I don't know what they're talking about. He has no accomplishments. The only people that believe this are people who simply do not pay any attention whatsoever to what anyone is doing except for Donald Trump. It's insane.
And sold out America.
Absolutely.
And that's why they attack him every single day. And when they can't attack.
Sold out America? How? How did he sell out America? What are you even talking about?
Attack him. When they can't get him, they come after me and they come after Don and Ivanka.
No, people come after them when they do something wrong, deeply morally wrong, or even illegal on occasion.
And Barron and Tiffany, young kids.
Never. People don't attack Barron and Tiffany. You know why? Because they're not in the spotlight doing illegal things on a regular basis or extremely morally questionable things on a regular basis. That's why they aren't the target of any of this stuff.
Yes, I have a final clip I want to play and get your reaction to that. So go ahead and, Emily, play that one.
I guess that was a little too much stroking. Steve would prefer the stroking decrease just a hair.
2016, and they said we're never going to let that happen again, and they cheated. And it's a shame that they're allowed to get away. And let's see whether or not they do get away, because I don't think they will get away with it.
Well, it's going to be interesting. I mean, you know, when you rob the store of its diamonds, I always say Tiffany, and you rob Tiffany of its diamonds and you get caught, you're supposed to return them. If we caught them cheating, you're going to let somebody that cheated stay for 3 more years? I can't.
You didn't catch anybody cheating. Biden didn't cheat. Trump did actually attempt to cheat in the election, but didn't really succeed. I mean, he succeeded in some ways. I guess it would depend on what you mean by cheat. Some of the things he did were legal. Some of the things that he attempted to do were against the law, like trying to pressure Brad Raffensperger, the Republican Secretary of State for Georgia, try to pressure him into changing the results to give him an additional 11,000 votes. Like, absolutely insane. The dude cheated all the way through. Cheated in every way you would expect. And he blames others for cheating. Just disgusting, man.
I can't imagine it.
And they're going to get 3 more years. They rig an election, they're going to get another 3 more years.
They did not rig an election.
What should happen is what the plan that we're on now, and I think a plan that's going to make people very, very happy, we'll be announcing sometime later.
No, it's not something I want to do. I want to look at what's happening, and then we're going to be doing something else. No, it's not something I would be interested in. And the vote counters were, there was great dishonesty. Look, it's been proven. Look at Wisconsin, what's going on. I think they may decertify their election.
Let it come back, and let it come back strong. Will be bigger and better and stronger than ever before. Something's going to happen.
The election was rigged. They've undone some of it, not all of it. They'll never.
The election was not rigged. Nothing was undone because there was nothing to undo. He's completely full of it.
Be able to do all of it because we'll be acting long before they can do all of it.
One of the quotes said, "We caught them." Another one, not on this clip, said, "We have it all." Can you address what your dad means? He said it many, many times. We have it all. We caught them. We have it all. I've been wanting to ask that question for a long time.
So he's asking, like, Trump comes out here and says, we have all of the evidence. We know unequivocally that they cheated. We have everything we need to prove it. And he's asking what he means by that. Interesting. Well, I'll tell you what he means. He means we don't actually have anything, but I want people to believe that we do. Greg Locke does the exact same thing. Greg Locke says things like, I've got pictures. I've seen videos. I've seen the video of Hunter Biden's laptop. I've seen videos of Hillary Clinton performing some satanic ritual or whatever. I have videos of people pouring out baby formula. I have videos of the Chinese government saying that they're taking over the United States or some other crazy thing. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't have any of that. It's just completely made up. It's the same situation with Donald Trump right now, just completely fabricated.
Talk about that.
Steve, I'm not
Please do. Please talk about that. I'd love to hear his explanation on this.
a guy who walks around wearing a tinfoil hat. Here's what I can tell you. I would do 5-6 campaign events every single day, and I did that for 6 months without taking a day off. I worked tirelessly. At every single place I went, I would get 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people. We'd fill churches. We'd fill stadiums. We would fill, farmland. I'd be standing on a tractor giving a speech to people who literally were they would walk across broken glass to vote for Donald Trump. I would hold events that were across the street from Joe Biden on purpose. And he couldn't fill up 25 little yellow circles. He couldn't fill them with people.
No, he wasn't filling them with people. There's a difference between incapable of, because nobody likes him, and not filling up because there's a virus absolutely ravaging the country. At that moment, Joe Biden very intentionally did not hold campaign events, or not public ones, because he didn't want to put people's lives at risk. This was something that he openly explained. Joe Biden did. We knew that he wasn't holding campaign events for that reason, or not big public ones anyway. And aside from that, high enthusiasm is not the same as high vote count. People can be absolutely nutty over their love for Donald Trump, and they are. That is not the same thing as tens of millions of people being willing to vote for him. Yes, a lot of people voted for Donald Trump, somewhere around, 65 million or something, and I think Biden got 75 million, somewhere in there. He's correct when he says people would crawl over broken glass for Trump. That doesn't mean that he had an additional 10 million people that would be willing to vote for him over Biden. Biden simply won. He's trying to use the fact that Trump is a cult leader as evidence that he won the election. No, we need actual real hard evidence. I just got 3 hands. The chances of that happening are astronomical. I don't mind it. I like hitting the hands anyways. It's just very unlikely that I would have gotten all 3 like that. It's just as unlikely that I would have gotten none of the 3.
No one in the world will ever tell me or make me believe that we didn't win that election overwhelmingly. Right. No one will ever make me believe that a guy who is the least charismatic human being ever, who can't get through a sentence, who never came out of his basement, happened to mobilize 15 million more votes than Barack Obama did in 2008. You're just not going to ever make me, believe that.
Okay, but it happened, and we have the hard evidence. This guy obviously operates off of feelings. Unfortunately, facts don't care about your feelings. I thought he knew that. I thought he had heard that saying before. Apparently not.
And I saw some really horrible things. I went down to the convention center, which was the main polling location in Philadelphia, and I tried to get in. And I was on the campaign team. I was credentialed. I was everything. And you had people standing outside the convention center. You will not come in this building. I don't understand. I'm a credentialed guy. I'm with the campaign. I have every right to be in there. I have every right to observe and watch.
Wait, is he talking about like at a voting location? No, candidates are not allowed in voting locations, I believe. Or candidates' representatives. They are not allowed to be in there. They're also not allowed to like give people water or anything that could be interpreted as like a bribe or whatever else. They're not allowed to give them anything. In fact, the candidates are not allowed to interact directly with the people voting in any way, shape, or form, or anybody from the campaign. Unless I misheard him. I think that's what he's saying, right? I think that's what he's talking about. Of course you're not allowed in. You're not allowed to observe. They have to have neutral observers.
What do you mean I'm not allowed in here? I'm on every single list. We're signed up ahead of time. You're not coming in here. And it's a very clear message that was being sent to me, which is, don't even think about it. You're in our town. You're not on the right team in our town. We control this spot, and bad things happened. And
no, that's just the law. They were just following the law, plain and simple. This guy is obsessed with being a victim. But honestly, the saddest part about this, Eric Trump isn't even coming up with any new propaganda techniques or methods or propagandistic framing. He's just saying all the same exact talking points that other people have already come up with for him. Nothing he's saying is new. Dude, I didn't know you could kill ghosts with a shell. That's new.
It happened across the country, and there's no question. No one believes that there was integrity in this election. And that is a deeply troubling thing for the United States of America when a good percentage of the population, including the other side, doesn't believe.
Not including the other side, actually. Republicans are just about the only people who have any kind of doubts about the election, and that is solely because Donald Trump screamed about it constantly for like months leading up to the election and the years after.
Believe that there was integrity in the election, and there were a lot of problems. A lot of problems. I really do believe it was death.
There were not a lot of problems.
By 1,000 cuts. I mean, we saw ballots that were being dumped in drainage ditches. I mean, that's
really.
We saw polling locations, and this is on camera. We saw polling locations where everybody has to leave now because there's a flood. There's a flood. There's no flood. They had a urinal overflow. They kicked everybody out. After all the Republicans left, 20 minutes later, everybody came back to the polling location. They were
just completely full of it. The dude is completely full of it. He is coming up with every election lie that he's heard up to this point and spreading it as much as he possibly can. He is a node in the fire hose of falsehood, the fire hose of falsehood propaganda technique.
Pulling boxes out from under tables.
Wow.
And running ballots through. It's really interesting that you have states like Florida and Texas that can get their votes in minutes after the polls close. And within an hour, they can get, 40 million, 30 million, 20 million people. All the ballots tabulated, but then all of a sudden you've got these states where if it's even close, we need more time to count. We need more time.
Yeah, if it gets close, you have to hold a recount. And a recount is automatically triggered within a certain margin of error. Of course. That's how democracy works. That's how all of this works. The saddest thing about this is that this guy is carrying water for truly depraved people. Truly depraved people who are only trying to propagandize, who are only trying to wreak havoc in the U.S., trying to cause division and confusion and fear. Really sad, honestly. Really, really sad.
Time to count in this county. It's really interesting. Why did it take Pennsylvania 4 days to tabulate the votes? Like, isn't that...
Because they were banned from counting the early votes or anything ahead of time. Or the early votes or the mail-in votes. They were banned from counting those ahead of time. Like, Arizona had counted all of their early and mail-in votes before the regular votes were cast. That's why Pennsylvania took so long. But he knows that. Eric Trump knows that, I'm sure. Being as involved in the campaign and everything as he was, I would truly be surprised if he didn't know that already.
Kind of interesting. Florida was able to do it on time. California was able to do it on time. Texas.
Yeah, that's because there weren't stupid, ridiculous, pointless laws preventing them from counting the early votes.
Was able to do it on time, but Pennsylvania wasn't. And then you'd see these massive trends, right? I mean, the whole world is statistics, but you'd see these trends where you'd have 1.1 million more Republicans sign up in Pennsylvania than Democrats. My father won Pennsylvania in 2016. You'd have 1.1 million more Republicans, sign up to vote Republican, but then you lose by 600,000 or 70.
Yeah, it's because his dad was deeply unpopular among some people, and I don't even know if that's true, where people signed up with 1.5 million or whatever. That could be completely made up. The point is, everything that he's saying is all twisted around, and some of it's just straight up made up. Some of it is twisted out of proportion to make you think that it's more likely that Donald Trump won. I mean, he's just repeating the same BS over and over and over again. Like, get over it, man. He lost. And honestly, if I were Donald Trump or anybody in his orbit, anybody associated with him, I would be honestly embarrassed to repeat a lot of this stuff. Trump simply cannot deal with the fact that he lost his election. Simply can't deal with it. And it's honestly embarrassing. It really is.
Stop. Like, no one believes that to be the case. You see these ballot boxes and these drop boxes. And you see the way that so many of them were monkeyed with, and you see people vote.
They were not monkeyed with, whatever that means. Ballot boxes, drop boxes, and stuff were perfectly safe. But he will do absolutely anything to cause fear, uncertainty, and doubt. It's called FUD, and it's a propaganda method or a news reporting method, if you will. Just completely made up. Completely made up.
Voting in multiple different states. You see dead people voting, ballots.
You didn't see any of that.
Of people who were deceased, and not just deceased 3 days ago. I mean, deceased for a period of time.
No, that's completely made up. You didn't see any of that. There was a period of time where Donald Trump was claiming that there were, dead people voting a while back, and everyone was like, well, let's see the list of people. Let's see the evidence. And sure enough, they actually turned over a list of people, a list of voters that they claimed were dead, right? A big list. So BBC, I believe, takes that list of people, goes to their house, knocks on their door, and asks them if they're dead. They answered the door. It wasn't a list of dead voters. It was a list of voters, just plain regular old voters. Seriously, they got their hands on a list of real actual voters and then claimed that it was a list of dead voters when it in fact was not. Absolutely disgusting, dude. It just gross. Absolutely gross what they did. The lies that they spewed. Just deeply wrong.
Their ballots came in. You see other people. We have tons of affidavits saying this. They get to the poll. I'm so sorry, you can't vote. You've already voted. They go, what do you mean I've already voted? I've never voted. Yes, well, you've already cast the ballot, so, move right along. I never voted for my guy.
Give me evidence. Show me some proof of this, and I will believe it. Not a moment sooner.
I mean, how many more of these stories do we need to hear before somebody says, you know what? Something wasn't quite right in this thing.
I don't need to hear any stories. I need evidence. That's all I'm looking for, and you have provided none.
Eric, I wanted to interject. I want to interject one thing because I know you have a heart out here. The big reason why I wanted you to be
hard out, huh? Interesting. I haven't heard it referred to that way before, but okay.
On this show with Steve and the Elijah Lipstream's audiences, I've met a lot of conservative Christians who love this country dearly, who decided to not vote or decided to be kind of apolitical. They felt like politics shouldn't be connected at all to the pulpit. They didn't want to talk about what was going on. And right now, let's just say that 80 million people voted for let's just believe that.
No, there's no reason to believe that. I think it was 65 million. I forget how many.
The lies of the media, and they say, well, 80 million people voted for Biden. He was more popular than Obama. There still is millions, tens of millions of Americans that did not vote. And if we can just get the truth out there and wake up the conservative Christians out there that did not vote, we're going to win this thing in a landslide. And as you're seeing places like what you just saw there going on in Wyoming, where you're seeing where the votes are so obvious that they can't rig it, that's the best strategy we have to win. So homework tonight, folks, share this show with as many people as you possibly can. 1, 2, make sure that you vote and drag your friends to vote with you. And 3, when you come out to these Reawaken America Tour events, we're going to Washington, Idaho in September. Then October, we're going to Pennsylvania.
I thought they held the last one. Weird. I thought that they ended the Reawaken America Tour. Apparently not.
Your friends, because you're going to see folks like Eric Trump. You're going to see folks like Amanda Grace, Julie Green, Kash Patel.
Oh, dude, all of these people are absolutely insane.
General Flynn, you're going to see the prophets, but you're also going to see the patriots. You're going to see people that believe in our God-given freedoms, and they're willing to die for them. They're willing to fight for this country, and we've got to wake up America, and that's why we call it the Reawaken America Tour. And again, Steve, housekeeping note, you can name your price. So if you're watching today, I don't care how much money you have or don't have. You can pay whatever price you want to pay, and you can get those tickets at timetofreeamerica.com, timetofreeamerica.com. And I just want to say, Eric, thank you so much for showing your support for many of these preachers and prophets by showing up at these events, because your father can't be bribed, you can't be bribed. And when you show up and you show your support for Dr. Stella Emanuel and
oh my God, she is a nutcase.
Julie Green and some of these other people, Mike Lindell.
So is Julie Green, so is Mike Lindell. They're all absolutely insane, like beyond insane.
It really,
like, seriously, some of these people should honestly, truly, I'm not trying to be mean to them, they should be in a mental institution. Seriously, they really should, for their safety and the safety of the people around them. Like, Julie Green believes that she hears from God on a regular basis, and he tells her all kinds of really crazy, messed up stuff. Mike Lindell, there's something deeply wrong with the guy, honestly.
It galvanizes the movement, and I do appreciate you and the Trump family showing up. Thank you.
Yeah, it sounds like this is about the end of it. Anyway, it was absolutely nuts, dude. Absolutely nuts. And Eric Trump, man, this guy is something else. He just spread all the same exact lies they've been spreading the whole time, basically. But the fact that they have the reach to even get this guy on tells me I should be covering the Elijah List more. 400,000 or so subbies, I believe. I forget exactly how many they have. Elijah List has 426,709 subbies on Facebook. On Facebook alone. They have a Rumble channel, too. Plus, they have an Elijah Streams YouTube channel. Yeah, see, they have 100,000 subbies on Rumble, too. That's nuts, dude. That is nuts. That's a lot. They're consistently getting as many views as I get on a lot of... In fact, more views than I get on a lot of their stuff on Rumble. Insane, man, insane. Not to mention the Elijah Streams YouTube or Facebook page. Elijah Streams is different from Elijah List in that I think they hold like the long form streams and then they upload the videos to the final one later. I'm not super sure, but Elijah Streams has, this is a Facebook page and it has 72,000 followers. And they consistently get like millions and millions of views. Absolutely nuts, dude. Crazy stuff. So anyways, that was Eric Trump. If you want to see me cover more stuff like this, let me know in the comments. I thought this was absolutely fascinating.